anything on the wall? What is from the reading corner which they read and we enjoy a lot. We also learn computer skills along with other activities and different skills that they are getting to learn. This is what teachers do. They meet together, they discuss, they plan, and they think about their school improvement journey by talking to each other. They observe each other's classes, they give feedback, they interact with the parents and also with the community. And they also try to share their knowledge with others, and they do much more. And this is a community. Our community is very well invested. They grow together. They try and understand what the school requires. If there is attendance problem, then they try to find ways how they can get more children to the school. If the school is having infrastructural problem, then they think about how they can support. Is there any one in the community who can help to paint the school, to look after the infrastructure? That I have been able to see has been wonderful for me to be part of this. This has been the journey of Faiza, and for Adhyayan Foundation, it's been now 7 years while the foundation is working towards the school improvement journey. And to know exactly what Adhyayan does, where all we work, all of that, I would like Yasha to come on over here and share with you.
Thank you for sharing the classroom that Faizan has been in. And we have been lucky enough to be working with many such classrooms across the country. Like Steffi said, Adhyayan began 7 years ago with the hope of a good school for every child. And how and why is it that we call it a good school and how we began? You can see a small statistic there in the left. It says 37% of class 8 children in government schools cannot read a class 2 text. I'm sure a lot of us present here have heard this statistic before. It's from the ASAD report that comes year on year. And then there are many other such reports that are there talking about the learning gap that's present. Now, these are coming in with as consequences of the kind of education present in our government schools, where more than 200 million children are going to these government schools in our country. And there is a whole cycle of generational poverty that they're coming with, resource branches in the communities that they come from. And yet we see classrooms like Faiza around us, while there are still many more classrooms that can become like that to ensure that all the 200 million children get to be a part of the good school and get good quality education. And for the work that Adhyayan does, we chose to work with the school leaders, that is your school principal in primary, as well school in charges, headmasters, headmistresses, there are many names across the country. We chose to work with them and the education officials in our government system to help build their understanding of what is really meant by a good school, so that there is a common understanding towards it. Everybody in the system can come together to work towards it, rather than if the education system provides to ensure that it reaches all the government schools that are there across the country. And we think that when leaders begin to take ownership, when they begin to support the different areas in the entire ecosystem of the school, there's a lot of change that can happen that ultimately trickles down to a good quality education for the child. And that's where our vision stems from, to say, how do we keep working on ensuring a good school for every child. But how do I know that my school is a good school, right? What is the way in which I can evaluate? I check this, there are 10 things, and yes, and this is a good school or a bad school. And once I know if it's good or bad, what will I do to actually make it good? And why do I use the term good and not best? So for that reason, we have started working across the country in 6 locations. We are in 5 states and 1 union territory. We've reached almost 4,500 government schools, and we've also worked with public libraries in the country that's mainly based out of Karnataka. To say that when we're working across these different geographies, how do we ensure to look at what is the model of a good school in these different locations? What can we learn of these different setups and put together a space where we can come to look at good quality education as a whole for the country and for all the 200 million children that we have. And that's where I'm active and engaged learning across 1 lakh government schools in this country. And that's a big number, right? It's that audacious goal that we've all heard of in many different ways. How do we reach these 1 lakh schools? Not to say that there are only 1 lakh schools, there are many more. But how do we reach this goal so that there is a ripple effect from there even to go to all the other schools that are there in the country? And for that, how? We have Nishta who's going to talk us through how we are working on it and why we've all gathered here today. And how all of us can be a part of reaching all of those 1 lakh schools and many more that we have. So thank you, Nishta.
I'll try to speak loudly so that I can everybody can hear me, just in case I'm not loud enough. Thank you, Secretary Dasha, for setting the context and also sharing about the kind of work that we'll be doing so far. Coming to the next part, which is Abhyas, for which all of us have come together and gathered. Now you'll ask why Abhyas and what is Abhyas. So when we say why Abhyas, so there were 2 reasons we thought of curating and building something like Abhyas. First being that we were working initially in the state of Goa, and slowly we started expanding to other geographies and regions, specifically North Tripura, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, and we started working there. We understood that there are a lot of things that were working in Goa are not working in the similar way in other states, because the needs and the context of these geographies and these states are very different. So we have to change our education, make it in a way that it is contextualized to the needs of these particular states. And while we were doing that, we were learning so much, and we thought that it's so unfair to keep all of these learnings to ourselves and not share it with the ecosystem, which also might want to expand and reach out to these states. And that's where the first light bulb movement happened for us at Adhyayan. The second one was that we were trying to build a body of practitioners knowledge, trying to bring all the learnings together. And our vision was also that by 2030 we wanted to reach out to 1 lakh schools and 1 lakh school leaders. And we know that as a small team and a small set of people, we can't do it alone. So how do we do it well? We understood that there are so many people and individuals and civil society organizations working in different capacities, in different areas to build better public education system in India. So why not bring them together? And that's how Abhyas came into being. What is Abhyas? So Abhyas is a multimedia platform. It's a live document, you could say a live platform that we would want to keep building for the evidence that what is already happening on the ground, the practitioners what they're actually doing. If we can curate it, bring it all together, and target the needs of the leaders who are working at different levels and different capacities to build good governance and good education system in India. So we built this platform on these particular design principles. We wanted to build something which is accessible. Anybody and everybody can access to these. We created something on learning management system which is Moodle, which can be used on a laptop as well as on the phone to be able to reach out to as many people as possible. It's very user friendly. Then we also wanted to make it language accessible. So we are in the process where we are creating and translating these courses into different languages so that people working in different geographies can also use and learn from the platform. It's a very easy to use platform. It's based on the adult learner-centric uh, system. We all understand that the different students learn differently. Similarly, different teachers and adults also learn differently. So we wanted to bring in different modalities. We wanted to use different tools when we are creating the platform. We didn't wanted it to be only information heavy. We also wanted it to be filled with case studies, good examples and best practices. So that people, when they're going through the platform, they're able to link it to the work they are doing, and they have ready-made hands-on tools that can be used while they are using and learning on the platform. We didn't wanted Abhyas to be something that is Adhyayan's thing, and that's where we wanted it to be a space which is co-created by civil society organizations, individuals who know maybe much more and different things that we don't do. We wanted people to come together and curate courses that might be beneficial for everybody, and it comes together in the ecosystem. So every time I want to learn something about this particular thing, I can go on the platform, learn from people who are doing the best on that particular thing in the ecosystem. We wanted it to be a space where we can all come together and connect. So it's a peer learning space where organizations working in different geographies and different capacities can also come together. And not only organizations, but people and individuals who are working with these organizations and institutions in different capacities can also come together and understand and brainstorm how we can make this platform even more inclusive and even more ready for the practitioners who are working on the ground in the schools. Also wanted to mention, sorry I forgot, that in our effort to build the body of practitioners knowledge, SVP Mumbai has been one of our very, has been a pillar in the work, not in the sense that they have been supporting us to run the program, but also in the way they are always our partners to be able to brainstorm and understand why and how, what better we can do in the process. We have named it Abhyas and come to that, but before we move forward, I wanted to give a shout out to all the partners we have on board so far. We would want this slide to have as many as logos and more logos in the months to come forward, and that's why we wanted to do a launch to invite more organizations to come together and curate courses on the platform. Now that we have named it Abhyas, we can't launch it without doing Abhyas. So to practice it and experience it together, I would like to invite Aniket for the self-registration process on the platform, and we'll go through one course together to be able to see the look and the feel of the platform and how it actually works.
I think we have heard a lot about why Abhyas, what Abhyas. Let's just now look at Abhyas, how it goes. So I would request everyone to take out your device. Your laptop is also fine, your phone is also fine. If you can just get your devices ready with you, phone, laptops. Got it? Thumbs up? 1, 2, 3, 4, all are ready. In your Google Chrome or for Mac, you can use Safari also. Just type abhyas.org. So it will show something like this on laptop and similarly on phone also. Once you have the logins, we use directly this, but right now we don't have. So there's an option right underneath which says create a new account. Got it? So I think once you click on that account, you have a pretty straightforward menu. Just one suggestion over here. In the username section, the first one, please put your email ID as a username. It's easier to remember, and also we can't have email IDs. Yeah. So you can say it. Yeah. We'll just wait here for a while. If everyone is on this stage, you can fill it. If not, then we'll just give some time.
If you need Wi-Fi access, there are the credentials to access Wi-Fi.
For the username, if you put your email ID, that will be better.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant.
But yeah, yes.
It asks for email ID twice. After that, it also to ask it twice. So it's nothing to just add it.
On phone, actually, the problem is the certificate problem happens by phone. So I think it's the laptop. Double. Actually, can you just double? One double A. That works. It's double. Yes. Some stays with you need to pay.
Username after the option that says create.
User is an
Just one thing. Once, so people who have completed, you might have got back to the same page again. During that time, just check your email, the app. You will have a confirmation email over there. Just click on that link. Your account is activated. We'll get to this step. But just open your email app, whichever you use, and you get a confirmation email there. Okay, so whoever are able to see the course in the category introducing Abhyas is the category name, you have the course underneath of that. If you open that, you will see a right side like small arrow that is for enrollment. If you click on that, it will give you option of enroll me. If you do that, you will be able to see the entire course. Anyone any difficulties? People at your service. Yeah.
Only lowercase letters are okay. Please 8 characters.
No, that is for the password. That is for the password. This message is for the password. So your password should have capital, small, easy. At least one capital. Another one.
So, okay, people who have already seen opened the course or just exploring out there might be a doubt that what to do next. Like, I have opened something, how do I come back? Just come back. On the left hand side, once you're in the course, you will see a blue, a semicircle with 3 white lines. That's your index. That's your course index. So that will give you all the topics which are going to come after. So if you have opened one, it will show you green, which means that you have opened it and then completed it. Move to the next if you have done that. But we'll just stop there because we have something lined up for you. So if you are there at the course, please let me know. Everyone is there at the course? We just pick them up. They are on the course?
There's a question mark in the email. Do you have a question?
Required, what is required?
Alright. Are you all good to go on the course?
Is also required.
Yes? Great. I'm
Invalid email.
those who are on their phones may see it a little differently, but this is what we're looking at
Here
right
question
now.
mark is not there.
If you scroll through, you will see the first aspect, which is how to navigate through the course, right? You can take one quick like a minute to go through that. Yes.
Just 2 minutes over here. I'll just tell you about how the layout is. It will be easier for you to take the course also. Just one second. Yeah. I think this is how it looks like. Okay, so just ignore the right hand side. Focus on the left wala. This is how it looks like on your phone, I guess. So, if you open, you see this blue dots, blue semicircle with 3 dots, that's your index. If you click on that, you'll see all the topics listed down. The way these courses are divided, these are small, we call it topics, which are chronologically arranged. So you do scenario 1, then scenario 1 assessment. So you go from the top to the bottom. Here you can come back and choose any of the topics. Right now, an announcement is general. Right now, it's when you using it later. If you have any announcement, you put it there. So that tab will not have anything right now. If you come on scenario 1, if you click on that, you will see the topic which the content that the topic hosts. There's a button over here which you can use to full screen it. If you want to see it much better, you can just rotate your phone and it will full screen your entire phone. Just go through this topic. So once this is over, 1, 2, 3, this is over, you can go back. Yeah. Sorry, I just got on the laptop. And then once it is done, you have seen it entirely, you'll see a green mark over here, then you move to the next. And so on and so forth. So if you have any problems while accessing this, please let us know. But as you move through the course, you will see a lot of things happening. So just reach out to us if you have any doubt anything.
And just a quick thought, while we're building this, it's a work in progress, right? So there may be areas where you are getting stuck or you feel like some things need to change. It would be great if you can share that feedback with us, because that's also going to help us to make it a lot more user-friendly and accessible to everybody. So feel free to do that as well.
Shall we put like while we're facing it or
You can do it.
We can go to
Yes.
there's feedback.
After
We
we
can
can I will just move some post-its around so you can put your feedback there and then we can take that up. Yeah. We'll just pass.
We have to log into a tab.
Should I can take that? Can you just
Though this is like a classroom setup, feel free to get up, move around, kind of talk to each other.
Yeah, I mean that's a phone problem actually. Yeah, it's the escape button. Works on laptop. Doesn't work on laptop. Lisa, how did you connect your Mac?
It just connected, yeah. It gave me something that, do you want to allow this? And I had to type in my password and then it's okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe because so many people are logged in now. Slow down. I don't think the live stream is I'm just checking.
Oh, it's live. नहीं हो रहा है क्या लॉगिन?
Oh, yes, but her actually Mac
सेटिंग्स देखा
right in front of the light.
Hello? Hello?
Settings देखा है. Mac I don't know. That's why I gave.
Yes, yes, of course you can. Where are you right now? Yeah, yeah, please come, please come. Just tell them that
घर पे शिपा.
okay. Or you can hand them the phone also. Please definitely come.
We get the second session.
Yes, we're ready.
Scenario 4 ना
know different people will be at different points of the course, but has almost everyone finished all the scenarios?
Scenario 1, at least 2, 3, 4.
Three
Yeah.
is.
So let's then open it up for discussion here. And this is the scenario. Yeah. So maybe we can just open this up for a little bit of discussion. What are some of the challenges that you have, you're all from very different areas as well. This is quite a mixed crowd. But you saw some of the scenarios where people were struggling with different issues. Obviously, the whole idea was to move you towards, okay, there needs to be some kind of platform where people can learn, where people are self-directed learners and they have opportunities to learn. Because like Miss Charjo, for instance, might be in a very remote area, and the opportunities for her to go for trainings will only be the ones that the government decides for her. In your areas of work, what might be some of the challenges that are similar or slightly different that you feel a platform like Adhyas might need? Because you've got context about Adhyas, what it's all about. So, yes.
So in our case, we do a regular training of, say, like veterans. But while we do, it is something to learn in the classroom setup, and then they go back and they start implementing it. Sometimes we feel that, okay, some refresher training needs to happen. But then again, it's like a long-term process to get permission for
Yes.
another round because they are government resources. I think that something like this really helps if we feed in the, because out of experience we know which are the areas where they might get
So I happen to know Priya, and we're working in the same space. We are working with librarians in Karnataka. They are Gram Panchayat librarians, and they run one program, we run a different program. But essentially the objective is the same, to get the libraries to be these really vibrant spaces. And even we find that sometimes, even though we all have this train the trainer kind of model, sometimes the trainers who we have trained may not all be equally effective also in training the others. So what if there were an opportunity for them? Like we've actually created a course on the Read Aloud. If you like, you can see it later. There will be an opportunity for you to explore any course that you wish. So we've actually created a course. Currently it's in English. We're planning to have it in different languages so that anybody who wants to learn how to do a read aloud can at least have something to start with. Like that, so thank you Priya for sharing. Anyone else? Shatarupa, do you see any scope for the teachers that you work with? So maybe you'd like to share.
See, we are operating in one of the most difficult consultants. So there, as you was mentioning, they can learn and pick it up from there and can apply in a classroom situation.
So currently we are trying to, we've started making courses in Bengali already. We are working, like for us it's the states that we are working in. So in Arunachal, a lot of people, so they can have access to this. The librarian, the reader of course, sight impaired, who have, so we are also trying to create voiceovers and, audio versions of the course. We are trying to make it an inclusive platform as far as possible. But what we really want from this gathering today is actually ideas from all of you. How would you like to use Adhyas? So we're going to come to that. Perhaps you'd like to just hear from some of us. I don't know if you've had a chance to see the videos. Yes. I don't know if all of you have had a chance. So You can explore the course on your own.
Majority of our work revolves around school and becomes essential for our team members to know how to use the Saraswati tool. When they through Adhyayan provide the platform, which enables our new team members to quickly learn and understand how to use the Saraswati tool to conduct school evaluations, using their self-learning and easily understandable modules on the Adhyayan platform. We wish the team at Adhyayan all the very best and look forward to more courses on Adhyayan. Thank you.
So that was from Sunbird and we heard a little bit from Michelle. When they came in, they've been working a lot in Manipur, in Assam, in Arunachal. They were starting to begin their work in one of the districts called Shiomi. It's a very very close to the borders of China. And they essentially work with schools on building residential, building full infrastructure and also working with them on something called a peace curriculum, given all the challenges that are there in the region. Before they were to begin the school there, don't know very much, like some of us may have heard, ask them to do a needs assessment of the place and to actually see if what the schools need for them to come in for. And they used one of the courses on Abhyas called the school review course on how to go in and evaluate schools using a framework that's there, and the one that we've been using in our work is Shala Siddhi, which is a national framework that talks about multiple domains around the school on what. When in the beginning when I mentioned what is a good school, right, a framework can help us understand what these parameters are. Shala Siddhi is one such, and today there are many more frameworks available. But they used the course to be able to go in and review 14 such government schools in Shiomi district. And based on that, they prepared a report on what they came to know, what the different needs that are there, and how to ensure that they're able to find the needs from multiple stakeholders, right? In a school, we have students, we have teachers, the community, the larger teachers who are there, the school leaders. There are other education officers who are also working with government schools. So how can we do a collaborative review with them? So that's what they did with 14 schools. Eventually they did get their funding, which is great. And they started working now with over 20 schools, and they're going to keep doing that. Plus they've adopted this model for all their schools across Manipur and Assam and Arunachal as well, as a framework that they felt they wanted to pick up. And not to say that Shala Siddhi is the only framework or that's the only way to go about it. There are so many other organizations here that itself who work with different frameworks across. I know LFE is working in Maharashtra quite a bit in a similar kind of work. LFE is Leadership for Equity. Maybe you all can come in. We don't have the expertise and understanding of what the scope of work in Maharashtra is. You would know that, and how can we bring something like that here for anybody coming in Maharashtra and understand the scope of work in schools? What would it look like for any organization or any individual as well to come in? Or say a funder is interested in going in a new geography and they feel like they would like to support this kind of work. What is it that they would want to start with? Or a government body at a district level or at a state level says, okay, leadership is something that we want to work with, or Read Aloud is something that we want to do. There are so many different programs. There's Saturday art class here of how to bring in art within the schools. So all of this, how can we make it available for anybody to look at and say, hey, this is something I'm interested in, how can I learn about it more, which is not people dependent, and it's open to all. So that's one example. This is an example of a work that we're doing in Tripura itself. We'll just hear is our colleague Biplav.
नमस्ते, मैं विप्लव प्रोग्राम एसोसिएट साफ त्रिपुरा। तो अभ्यास प्लेटफॉर्म में जब से मैंने उस पर खुद पे कोर्स किया और साथ ही में बंगाली ट्रांसलेशन में भी काम किया, तभी मुझे लगा कि ये बहुत ही हेल्पफुल रहेगा शाला शिफ्टी फ्रेमवर्क के अंडरस्टैंडिंग में। फिर बाद में आज जब ओरिएंटेशन हुआ, बीआरपी सीआरपी के जो रिएक्शन थे वो भी बहुत अच्छे थे, उनको बहुत ही अच्छा लगा, क्योंकि पहले जो शाला शिफ्टी फ्रेमवर्क के डोमेन और स्टैंडर्ड्स थे उनको समझने में पूरा मतलब ज़्यादा मेहनत करना पड़ता था, क्योंकि वो बहुत सारा लिखा हुआ होता था। बट अभी वो अभ्यास प्लेटफॉर्म के थ्रू ज़्यादा इमेज देके और शॉर्ट करके अच्छे से अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए उसका डिज़ाइन किया हुआ है, तो वो बहुत ही हेल्पफुल रहा है। उनका भी यही फीडबैक है कि ये बहुत हेल्प करेगा हमको शाला शिफ्टी फ्रेमवर्क को अच्छे से ब्रेक डाउन करके समझने में। थैंक यू।
So, sorry, here Biplab raises a really important point, because so many of us learn in so many different ways. Some of us are comfortable reading a lot of text. हम सब बड़े बड़े किताब पढ़ सकते हैं। कुछ लोगों को ऐसा अच्छा लगता है, कुछ लोगों को वीडियोस देख के अच्छा लगता है कि हम एक छोटा वीडियो देख लें और उसमें से हम कुछ सीख लें। कुछ लोगों को जस्ट बाय लुकिंग एट पिक्चर्स और कुछ सिंपल पोस्टर्स के जैसे देख सकते हैं और फिर उनको उसमें से सो वी आर ट्राइंग टू cater to different kinds of learners as well. और जैसे उन्होंने कहा, the BRPs and CRPs, the block resource people and the cluster resource persons, many of them were struggling क्योंकि वो शाला सिद्धि में जो लिखा हुआ है, even if it is written in their own language, कभी-कभी वो पढ़ना नहीं चाहते हैं. When they see so much text, they just feel put off. But here, through examples and actual practitioner knowledge, when they are seeing what people have done in their schools, they feel motivated. अच्छा, अगर ये स्कूल में ऐसे हो सकता है तो हमारे स्कूल में क्यों नहीं हो सकता है?
Yeah, and I think we also heard similar things. Likewise in Arunachal, like Steffi was mentioning in the, Nisha mentioned in the beginning, that when we took our work from Goa to Arunachal and Tripura, जहाँ पे context बहुत ही अलग है, अगर हम उन्हें गोवा के वीडियोस दिखाए तो बोले उनके ही नहीं है, हम ये सब तो सोच भी नहीं सकते. But that's when we started bringing in examples from their own community and schools which are like theirs. That feeling of relation happened very quickly to say, अच्छा, like she said, कि ये कर सकते तो हम भी कर सकते हैं, ये possible है, कोशिश करके देख लेते हैं. That initial push and that motivation comes in relatively easily than to see something that's beyond your own context. So this is one such example. And we have one last.
Platform is a reliable learning platform for Sala City, and it also reflects a continuous commitment for knowledge refinement, and I would rate Adhyayan platform 10 out of 10.
We have Kalpesh from Anandalaya.
Thank you, Diyasha. Hi, everyone. So, Adhyayan has been working with the government of Nagaland for the past one and a half year in a project called Nectar. I think LFE has also worked there for some time. Apart from what has already been said, I will focus on 2 points which I realized because I was part of this training. So, the geography of Nagaland is very difficult. Northeastern states. So imagine state having to conduct capacity building programs for all the teachers across the state. Getting them together at one place is very costly. It's not efficient, cost effective for the state. So we are trying out decentralized models of trainings with the state. This program was to train the district and block education officials so that they can train the school heads in their respective blocks or districts. And it was not possible for everyone to be at a central location. Whereas it is possible in a large state because like Maharashtra, Karnataka, because it's easier. So we thought of a decentralized model. When Abhyas came in, and luckily Abhyas was there ready by the time we were planning to roll out the training sessions. So the trainings happen in the blocks. So all the block level officials gathered in their own blocks. I was a facilitator, one of the facilitators in a couple of blocks. What I realized was that because we are trying to decentralize and scale the training program, there is always a possibility of the quality deteriorating because it depends on the facilitators, right? And it's not always possible to find a good facilitators. But because Abhyas was there, it was possible for us to standardize that training. The structure of the training, the content, assessment, when to ask a question, it does not now depend on the facilitator, but it's there in the structure. So, but they didn't do it on their own. Even in the blocks, there was a facilitator who was well versed with the content of the course, plus was tech savvy, so that like you all, imagine you all as being district education officials, and there is a facilitator, but you are doing this course on your own. So we called it as a hybrid mode of training where you're doing it on their own. Plus you have support in terms of a facilitator who could help you whenever you're stuck and also to carry out those discussions whenever needed. So that was the first point, to standardize the training, which really helped us to take the trainings to the block levels. The other part was, as a facilitator, I enjoyed a lot because I had to do the least amount of preparations. I don't have to talk a lot throughout the course. Yes, I do need to know the content. I do need to know how to navigate the course. And the most important thing that I was happy about was that I was able to support people who needed more support, because others are going at their own pace, right? So of course in such situation there were times where some people would complete before others, and those are then things that we need to take into consideration and plan for those things, but that's not a big issue. So those are the two important things which I wanted to share. Thank you for the platform. Any questions? Sorry, or I don't know if we are having questions later.
One question.
Yes.
I know that long distance training or standardization of training is, I can understand the difficult concepts like government based models. Like, we also try to understand how many of those participants went back and were able to translate that understanding, which is there as part of the video. Because I know that videos also come with their own affordances, but also limitation because there's no dialogue that is possible in a video. So if the teacher has a question she had, what to do next might be a little difficult.
Yes.
So from that point of view, once he came back, did you see a certain percentage of teachers actually being in a position to translate the inputs that they
Right.
received?
So this pool was actually the officials. After a refresher training, they actually trained the school heads using the same model. So that was there. That is how we got to know what their understanding is. Because imagine you all as official, you go back and train your school heads. Even in those places, our facilitator was there, but then we were not facilitating. We were just observing how they are doing it. And since from what I can say, from what I understood, those that had understood this well, the flow of the course, the content, they were really able to do justice to their facilitation. So if we build that capacity, then they are able to translate. And then now they will go, the school heads who they have been trained, they will go to the schools and do school reviews. Again, there will be a quality check, but we could definitely see that translating to the schools. Because it's not just videos, there are assessments built in, plus one thing which I realized is as a facilitator, I also need to have those points in my mind as to where I will be also asking some questions, not in between maybe, but after the session ends, I have to touch on those points again. So in such kind of setting, that is really important. So that becomes a job of a facilitator. It is actually similar to what the actual facilitation job is, but lesser work.
Can you clarify this point where you said that you were training the block officers and then they went forward and trained the students. So when you talk about the geography of Nagaland as well, you said that it's a very difficult geography altogether. So how were you able to, like let's say get all the block officers together in that manner? And for example, let's say this is one course that you're talking about, right? Is it required for them to sit with you in a hybrid mode in every session, every lesson that they're planning to take? Or let's say for example this module only was hardly 15 minutes long. But what about courses that are, let's say, hours long and days long? What about that?
Yeah. So thank you for the question. Two questions. The first was, sorry, for the first question.
The first question was about getting the block officers together,
Yeah.
and are they required in every session?
Right. So at least for Nagaland, I mean they call it TADA, right? Travel Allowance Daily Hours. When they get the officials to center, which is Kohima as their center, they have to give travel allowance, daily allowance, all of that stuff. Whenever there is a training at the block level or even at the district level, so not at the district level but at the block level, they don't have to give the, travel allowance to them because it's the part of their structure of the same block. They anyway have to move in their own block, so their cost reduces a lot. So that's the first point about the cost. That's your question, right? So
basically, I was asking you that the geography is like that. You're getting everybody from different places at one place.
yeah,
You got them once?
yeah.
Or are you getting them every time?
In every block. So they gathered in their own blocks. So there are around 46 blocks.
So are you training all the 46 block officers together or
No,
differently?
differently, in their own blocks. So this is one block. All the officers in that block are in their block, whichever center is there. So in every block, this training is happening. So
and
then,
are they required to be there like every time?
So at the start, yes, because it's also a matter of their digital competencies. It's not only the content, but even we had to spend a lot of times even for Google Forms to be filled by them. So it's also a matter of digital competencies. Once their competencies get built, slowly and steadily we will then have refresher courses which they can take even from their homes. But we have not reached that point yet because it will take some time for them to get used to this. Again, this culture of taking an online course and learning from it, it will take some time to build. So we have just tried out a couple of times and we've seen some results, but it will still take some time to build that culture.
And what I wanted to add is also that there is an advantage that if, in any course that I do, there'll be parts where something is still fuzzy. At least here, I have the possibility of going back to those parts and saying, hey, I didn't quite understand this. I can go back and I can learn again. Also, the assessments give you, if you haven't cracked the assessment, you can go back to the module, understand it better, and then retry the assessment. It's not like a summative that once you've done it, now you can't go back. So that also gives them confidence that if I haven't understood something, I can go back, learn it properly, and then move forward. So everyone can learn at their own pace this way. That is another advantage. And we have actually, your other question was that some courses might be really long.
Yeah.
That is something we are consciously avoiding. We are trying to make learning, we recognize that human beings have today, not just today, but probably, the power of concentration has really gone down. So we are actually trying to break things down into smaller modules, into smaller chunks so that it doesn't feel daunting. The moment you have a course that is going to take, that is where actually a lot of learning platforms exist. But where do they lose? We even pay up for so many courses that we say, this I have to do. But then when it's taking up so much of our time, sometimes we lose interest or other things happen in life and we say, okay, we'll come back to it, or we baad mein dekhenge, and that, like, I have wasted money on so many such courses. But here, because it's small chunks, there is a greater possibility of the person finishing it and seeing it get
So these courses are like, when they all come together, actually give them a hands-on experience what to use it and all that. But they can always go back and at the self-pace, their own pace, whichever is, they can. And another question is, what about the connectivity?
So, this is a question I would like to answer.
Okay. Yeah, again, one of the problems in our geography is Northeast, very remote. Some places don't have connection at all. So the app version of Moodle, once you have connection to your phone, you can just enroll to any course like we just did. It will download that course in your mobile. So you can take it offline, and whenever you connect back to the internet next, all the assessment data will be uploaded over there and reports can be generated out of it. So you can pre-plan what courses you want to take, keep it ready, do it offline, come back, get the assessment online. Does that answer?
Yes.
These courses was designed for a specific purpose, right? This training needed to happen, and it was used as a tool for the facilitation. If there is a certain community, because I was thinking of this as a use for a class, that for example, there's a school that wants to get better at social emotional learning. It was the example that showed up. They want their teachers to get on the software, do some courses, and then upload their practices together. So that's your practitioner knowledge uploading, right? So how would that work then? Abhyas would create a separate course for that school on the software, give them credentials, they would upload it.
So here's what we're all here. That's what we're all here for. That how might we want to collaborate on Abhyas, because it's social emotional learning isn't in our wheelhouse. We've not done that except through the read aloud. So I can personally create a course on how to use the read aloud for social emotional learning, but if they want to do something that is a little different, I don't have the skills to create that course, but somebody else might. So we actually want to train people to create courses for Abhyas and actually become, even upload the courses themselves. So if, say for instance, C-Learning has something that they already have something on their platform, we can connect that as a resource as well. That listen, if you want to do a course on C-Learning, here is if you want to introduce that into your school, these are the resources available for you. For instance, Ummeed has got a whole YouTube channel full of videos on disabilities, how to work with students with different kinds of disabilities. Now, this is an area where a lot of teachers struggle, and that is one of the hallmarks of a good school, where classes are inclusive. So what if Ummeed were to create courses for teachers on Abhyas, and they can be under special categories, like different categories. So we've tried to keep, like while we've organized this event today, if you notice on the Abhyas platform, you will not see any mention of Adhyayan Foundation. You will not see our logo, because we don't want this to be proprietary. We want this to be a collective. And later on, if other organizations wish to, create courses, we can add that these courses have been contributed by this organization, and they can be under that organization's name. There might be other languages that for geographies that we don't work in, so we can have those languages as well.
So I have a question. So at LFE we work on the officer and teacher capacity building. So last year we built a capacity of 9,000 teachers in Maharashtra. And around if such big number is there and we want teachers or officers to come on the Abhyas platform, so what is the procedure to register them or enroll them to the course?
the the same way we did today. It's anyone can self enroll to the platform. The other thing that we can also do is we do it for Nagaland actually, but we don't recommend that. Is we created a user ID. So for Nagaland we had around if I'm not wrong 143 users in the first half. In total we have 500 now. But for the bunch of it, what we created IDs with passwords for them and gave it to them so that you can use this. To make it simple, because stakeholders a little bit technically was a problem.
Yeah.
But the problem that happens is that your locations and all those metadata, the things that you have filled in are not there. So when you are doing assessments or reporting, it's very hard. It's like picking a needle from the haystack. There are very less pointers left to differentiate you from others because these are not email ID as we have used. They are like a generic user ID that has been created. We have it in backend, but still at the future it gets a problem. So if you're doing it for larger also, we recommend small bunches of, I would say, training sessions where we can show them how to log in. It's a one-time step. You do it once, and I think you save it. You don't have to do it again.
So what can be that maximum number if you want to have 10?
There is no maximum number.
You can have as many
As many. Because for teachers and officers, self-registration thing will not work.
Yeah.
Because they are not tech savvy, so they don't know how.
That's
to
why that small chunk of trainings, like this, where we can come and help you, or maybe a PDF which shows like step by step, एकदम detailed, maybe screenshots, something like that has to be added as supplementary for them to create these items. But yeah, that's like a okay.
Just kind of follow-up question on that. So, in that process, like as we did today, what part do you think?
The thing is they will fill up the information, no problem. They will fill up the information, but most of the time I have seen that their email ID will change. Email ID will not be same. So email ID that they have mentioned, it not so that email ID will not be there in the phone. So they may have to go to another mobile to search the email and then go to that link and then go to the platform. So that thing might happen. And the second thing, the most important thing is correcting the password. This thing happens with the teachers and officers, they forgot password every time.
I think that happens with all of us.
Yeah. So like we practice that, we give them generic password and use this password and complete the code. That's it. Every participant will get the same password.
Right.
No need to remember. And it is the course. How that access will work for me? A best platform access. How it will work for me if I want to offer the course.
That's what I was thinking, that we should think about that as well.
I was coming to that point as well.
Maybe we can think
Yeah,
about
I think
that.
like where we are right now, we just wanted to be sure that everything works, and we can definitely implement.
At least for the app.
Yeah.
It's very easy for mobile.
Yeah, we can have like the OAuth integration, and that's the same framework which works across devices. So it can definitely be done that it's an OP-based login system. Yeah.
Also, it's like the problem gets mitigated halfway if you use the app. So right now, for the simplicity of it, we are doing it for the browser. But the Moodle app, which is on Play Store, if you log into that, it's a one-time thing. Then you don't have to remember your user ID and password. It will be there forever, logged in. Unless until you uninstall it, that's where. But yeah, I think good suggestion of that.
Usually change password has to be dynamic because data gets compromised.
Yeah.
Like some wrong thing comes, then the purpose of yours will get defeated. So you have to ensure that the password is dynamic, as Mukul rightly said. OTP login is the best one, and you should not have constant. Like Suresh means it cannot be same Suresh and Suresh because data can get compromised, and you don't know what all can come into. So you have to be very careful. So password has to be dynamic, and OTP is a good suggestion. And don't have the static information. Both the user mail ID can be static, but password cannot be static. Okay.
The other thing is that people change things.
Yeah.
Yes. And if they you install the app again, then again re-log in, not remember the password on there.
So Priya has been waiting for a while and we'll come to you.
Yeah, so my question is, see, the whole objective is to improve the system. So when you train them and then they log in and all that and they're enrolled, after a point of time, sometimes, it's not so easy that you tell them and they do it. So you have to nudge them, and there has to be some department or pressures where they get to see that how many of them have completed and
Yes.
what has been done. So is there a report that gets generated and gets tracked?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think that's a clear
Yeah, and
That
when
one.
you were also going through the course, you could see those green ticks. So at the back end, like whenever there is an assessment, the scores and all are also getting recorded, and whoever is the authority, we get to see who has completed and who has not completed, whatever.
I think following up to what she said, she's more of, I mean, I don't want to. So let's say, for example, Amazon or Ajio or anything, you put something in cart and you forget it, and then it keeps you giving you notifications that oh you have something in the cart only. So probably with the course as well, you can have something like that, like a nudge that oh your course is still incomplete.
Once you
I think
enroll,
that's what you were trying. Yeah.
so we have set a date. So once you enroll to a particular course, so we know that you want to do it. We have set a particular date of 15 days. So until those 15 days, if you don't have any activity on it, you get a reminder message saying that this is in your cart.
You wanted to say.
Could I just
Yes.
I just wanted to add to what you said. So that's like one thing, and then like it happens with both within methods, right? Like one is that you receive a data, you can build an analytics model around that data, which will say that you have set, let's say, a certain threshold, and then users can get notified. The other thing is then the time based. Like you can have thresholds for time, and then users can get notified. Another important thing that I would like to point out here is that those are the important design principles that we need to think about when it comes to the governance process of courses. Otherwise, people will slip off, and we need to keep a track of what the funnel is. So, just
Two questions.
Sure.
One is the registration part. You said you can do self-registration. Okay. See, this is the internet world. Somebody can clear a full, somebody will say that there is no registration. How do you authenticate whether the registration person is a teacher or a student, or how will you kind of see? Is there a kind of a validation? One. Second, is the course content upload, which is there. Who will be uploading? Whether one of you all will be doing the course upload, they validate this course and then upload to see whether the content is of quality or is just junk.
So
Is that going to be a check?
So as the platform grows, we will have to of course think of, right now it's just us creating the courses, but as we invite partners, and again I think that's where this collective idea will come in. Maybe there can be a group of experts from different organizations validating courses. Your first question, I think that's more a technical question which I will leave my colleagues to answer, but as far as this is concerned, obviously, like even Satyam was saying, that as the platform grows in popularity, all these checks and balances have to be built in. It's a very valid question. And we also don't want junk to be uploaded on the course. We want things that are of a certain quality.
I think just to add to this point, for the second question, the creator account will always be validated by the platform administrators. So no one can just sign up as a creator. We have to sort of like build that up. And there's validation inbuilt in just that process. The second is there's always like a domain-based building that can happen. So we could have a list of emails and then we could validate against it. We would not always know if the person registering is actually a teacher or a student. But what we can know is that if we have emails of like thousands of teachers, we could always check the email back to it and say that oh, this comes from this set of emails, so that must be a teacher.
Just to help you out in the registration. Government teachers normally have the ID, teachers name. Okay. You can do a validation with the teacher's ID, and all teachers do have the email ID. So once this teacher's ID is there, you can send a confirmation mail to the email ID of the teacher. I only get it on the phone. Like Google gives you your fingerprint scan you have to do, then only it checks. Nowadays Google captures also your fingerprint scan.
So So what we're hoping is that, we've given you some food for thought. Our only criteria for these courses is that A, they're related somehow to improving schools. They can extend to the larger ecosystem around the school. So like, whether it's libraries or maybe there are courses where teachers can learn about how to help students make career choices. There can be courses on health and nutrition, which the Anganwadi teachers can also do, as well as school teachers. They need to know all this. So as long as it's related somehow to the improvement of school quality, that is one criteria. The second one is that they should be digestible courses and not these, voluminous courses which take forever to complete. They should be, and the most important thing is that they should be made by people, or rather they should have empirical data from the ground and not be based on some theory somebody has read somewhere and copy pasted over here. We want stuff that can be actual, that people have implemented. Stories of real people, stories of real action taken. And the course principle should be like, how can I do this? Like it should answer the question that if I want to, for instance, as a school leader, improve attendance in my school, and if another school leader has done this successfully and if they've uploaded a course on how they've done it, maybe it's just a video, but we convert that into a sort of a course, but it's actually something that has been tried and tested, and they give you clear steps ki ab hum kya kar sakte hain. So these are the three criteria that we want the courses to follow. And next steps would be, let us know if this is of interest, speak to others about it. The person that you can contact if you are interested in this, I'm just going to put, and we'll send an email to all of you with all this. Yeah, we'll send you an email with all these details, so you don't have to. Send all your queries to this email ID and we will respond. We'll send this email ID in an email to all of you, so don't worry about it. Yeah, we did collect your email ID. So yeah, and there's a feedback form. How are you sending it?
It's in the course.
Okay, so you'll have to jump to the end of the course, and there's a little feedback form. That's the criterion for which you'll get your snacks. It's a very short form, or you can fill it over snacks. We won't be so mean. It's already 6:10, and I know some of you probably have.
Also, it would be really lovely if you all can share, if you all want to collaborate with us, if you all have some ideas, like if you already have courses that you all have created and you all want to put it up, even like we will be all over here, you all can maybe take a little bit of time and stick around and share that with us, and we can take that forward.
So, Miss Tea, coffee, and some delicious pohe and veg cutlets. Please come to the dining area and help yourselves. We cater for a huge audience, so please eat well. We had over 80 registrations, so we got very excited. But Bombay is Bombay.
You can just refresh the form. You will get it right there.
I should have also checked
For those who they try to log in, I mean, get access to the form, if you just refresh it, you should be able to access it. And if you're looking at, oh, why is this doing this?
But if you want to change the link also.
I don't think I didn't get